we'll see how we go.
Yes.
How's the technicalities going, mate?
Yeah, Horse is stitching up a good in here, so just give me 2 seconds here, and hopefully we should be right. I believe. All right, yeah, we should be good now. There is a different YouTube stream that's popped up because the old one for some reason decided not to work. So that's cool. I have to get Horse to deal with that later, but I believe we're good. I'll just quickly tweet out and let people know, and we should be good to rock and roll here in a second. It's
beautiful.
Bit of a stitch up, but
was the link that got sent out not working? Was it?
Yeah, it just I don't know. It was working, and then when I clicked live, it just sort of decided, hey, let's not work now. So fair enough.
Oh, good.
We should be good now. People will start showing up if they refresh. Just let people know to refresh and get in there.
Beautiful. Sounds like a plan, mate.
Alrighty.
So were we talking to ourselves for the first 5 minutes? Is that what you're saying?
Pretty much. We were talking to
beautiful.
We were talking to the people at Twitter. So hello to all of them. But
anyone else didn't get it, so all good.
Yeah, that's all good. But yeah, we should be bloody good now as long as I just fix one last thing. All right. I'll get Horse to deal with all that once we're done here. All right.
Beautiful.
We're ready to rock and roll. And
let's do it.
Yeah.
So where do you want to start, mate? So I'm no draft expert. I'm going to defer to you for most of the draft content in terms of what these kids can do, where they might go, why certain clubs might pick them. I'll probably do a bit more of I'll ask you some questions along the way and how's it all playing out, etc. The other thing I'd love to do though, we know that it's pretty much common knowledge now that Carlton are going to trade their picks. That seems a lock. So I know that we're using a bit of a draft simulator here. And if anyone can see our screen, you might have seen this on other YouTube content creators' channels. But Pommy in Oz is a content creator who does a lot around the AFL, particularly around the draft. And he has created this cracking bit of software that enables us to pretty much do a mock draft and do trades. And it takes into account what bids happen and how bids get eaten up by matched bids and all that kind of fun stuff. So if you're watching at home and you like this, please give Pommy and Oz a bit of a follow on his channel. It's a great bit of software that we're going to use for tonight. So do we want to start with a trade first, mate?
Yes. So what we'll do to start off, because as we know, Carlton are pretty well locked into trading their picks. So what the rumoured picks are at this stage is it looks like pick 9 will go to Essendon for pick 21, pick 27, and pick 30. And it is potential. I mean, it's probably going to happen that Essendon will want to try and get pick 54 just so they can have that few extra little points to try and get swayed later in this draft. And
so before you hit accept on that, are you telling me that the pick that Hawthorn were trying to flog to us, we're going to get anyway, and we keep Zach Merritt?
Yep, that's exactly right.
This is gold. So we get pick 9. We get to take a kid in the draft to pick 9, and all it costs us is a Draper compo pick, our second round pick, and a pick that we swapped with St Kilda for our pick 43 last year.
Yeah, it's bloody good business from Essendon, which is quite rare.
Is brilliant. Love it. Love it.
One thing we might do when it comes to the actual trade, when it happens, probably on draft night tomorrow night, is we might try and keep one of these late 20s, early 30s picks and trade a future second, because as you'll see later on, if Adam Swade gets taken or gets bidded on a bit earlier than we expect, we're going to have a hard time getting him. So there might be potential that a second rounder or something from next year goes, but for now we'll say it's these 3 picks and we'll get that trade sorted. So there's one trade for Carlton done, and the other trade they were planning on doing was pick number 11 going over to North Melbourne for pick 25 and a future second. So, and as the as people get bidded on and whatnot throughout this, North Melbourne's pick will become decently good enough for points. And Carlton just, they make it a lot easier to get Harry Dean and also their other compo pick. I believe his name's Jack Ison. Yeah, Jack Ison.
Yeah. And just, it's probably worth noting for those at home, if you're not across the draft, because this sounds like a stitch up for Carlton. So this is a little bit similar to what happened to Essendon last year, where we had to get rid of pick 9 because there were threats of a bid on Kako. So the way this is working for Carlton, they're getting rid of pick 9 and 11, and they would have gone anyway if West Coast, because the rumour is that West Coast are going to bid, or the threat, whether it happens in real time or whether it's just at this stage a threat, I don't know. But if it happens that the bid comes at pick 3 from West Coast, the pick 9 and 11 would have went, and they would have got a pick back somewhere in the late 20s. So by doing these two trades, yes, it sounds like Essendon and North get really good deals, and they do, let's be honest. It's good for both clubs. But what it does for Carlton is they basically buy a future second next year and get the 2 picks. So they get Dean and Ison, and they lose all those 20s picks they're getting from Essendon and North will go in the bidding process, but they'll get a future second for next year. And we know that next year they've got Walker coming in, which is going to cost them probably their first pick and that Sydney future F1. So it'll enable them to still be in the draft in the early 20s next year. So that's the win for them, even though ideally they probably would have preferred not to have to do it. It's just the reality of the bidding system.
Yeah, and one of the big reasons they've had to do it is Harry Dean has become a big talking point, and we'll get to him in just a second. But we'll start off with the actual drafting, and it's pretty well locked in now that a fourth Dersma sibling will lock up the first overall pick in Willem Dersma from the Gippsland Power. Will go to West Coast at pick 1. It's pretty well solidified now that they will take Dersma. Eagles really haven't even had a look at any trade offers for pick 1, and either of their top 2 picks really. I know Essendon were really trying to trade up and still might package, one of those or a couple of those big picks that we have in this draft to try and move up. But yeah, right now they are definitely not going to trade that pick for Willem Dersma, and he will be a West Coast Eagle. Willem Dersma, his midfield upside is just unreal. His ability to swoop on loose balls, burst away from opponents, hit the scoreboard. It's very Harley Reid-esque, dare I say. And mate, him and Harley Reid through the middle in future years is going to be unreal.
Do we think next year he'll play a different role? Like, will they ease him in somewhere?
Intercept defender is probably what I reckon. Around he's got brilliant ability in the air. So somewhere in that back pocket, half back area, he's quick by foot, has real good intercept ability. So yeah, somewhere around half back he might play, which still makes him a bit of an option, especially in a West Coast side that has lacked a bit of running out the back for a little bit now.
If he's a defender, it's going to be gold, isn't it? Like, I mean, the rookies that go at pick 1 generally are about 200,000 or just thereabouts. From a super coach point of view, but if we can get defender mid status on a Dersma, that would be brilliant. If he's only a mid only, it might impact, but the beauty is that if he does play and he does play back, we know that the first 6 round DPP changes are the easiest ones to meet the criteria. So let's see how it goes. But obviously, someone will have our eye on over the practice matches to see whether he's a selection in our teams.
Yeah, 100%. And then before we get to this second West Coast pick, it's basically the start of this West Coast pick. What we presume will happen, it's pretty well documented now, Kautumi has mentioned this the past week or so, this will probably happen, is that West Coast will attempt to go for brother of Bodie Yuland, Zeke Yuland, and Gold Coast will match that bid using picks 15, 18, and 24. So Zeke Yuland will technically go second in the draft. Besides the back injury that held him out of this, upcoming campaign last year, he was looking for all money to probably go pick 1. But what he did at bottom age is unheard of stuff. Averaged 25 disposals, 6 rebound 50s as a 17-year-old. It's just unheard of. What I reckon he probably does to start his career with Gold Coast, they definitely do see him as an inside mid when he grows up a bit. But I think he'll probably start on the outside a bit more. Especially out on the wing, and then sort of transition into a bit of an Errol Goulden role, and that's my comp match for him. He's got a lot of Errol Goulden about him, good by foot, runs all day. Yeah, he's really impressive.
And again, another one there might be a role for, because obviously Fiorini got traded out. So there might be a spot on one of those wings for him to ease his way into the team, and all the half forwards that they also got rid of. So there might be a place there at Gold Coast for him to press his case for selection. The other thing that we're not doing tonight, people might have heard about other trades that Gold Coast are going to do, because Gold Coast are going to struggle to match all these bids. We've already got now a bid at pick 2. They're likely to have to face another bid soon, and we'll talk about that shortly. They've got another 2 guys, then there's a chance they might have to pass one up, because all these guys teams are making them pay. So they will do some other trades, but because we're only doing about 30 picks tonight, we're not going to go through the whole draft. We're not going to worry about those other later trades, because they can worry about that tomorrow night.
Yeah, I've only got one other trade booked in. So West Coast again, back up on the clock, technically a second pick again, but it'll now be the 3rd selection. And they'll go for another bid. It will be Harry Dean. He's come into real contention, and it's sort of made Carlton have to work to get him now. He's the best key defender in this class, and he's probably going to be the highest picked key defender in a decade. So the Blues have now worked out their point situation to get him, and they're going to want to match him for the next decade. Using picks 20, 23, and 25, Harry Dean will go to Carlton.
And again, another one that, they obviously got that pick 11, or was it 9, whichever one they got. I think it might have been 11 for the Curnow trade, among another suite of things. So, I mean, they really did have to think about this, and clubs are doing it. I think the one thing is, I'll get on my soapbox for 2 seconds. I know this isn't a bloody time for it, but the one thing that's really weird that I don't like is that we don't know the exact bidding process for next year and beyond. I think that's really unfair. Like, when clubs are trying to, match bids and trade and all of that kind of stuff, you need to be 2-3 years in advance. So it is a bit of a pain in the arse that we don't really know. We've heard next year will be a bit harder, but anyway, for now, Carlton have had to pay up for a guy that earlier in the year was probably expected to go around their pick, around 9, but he seems to now, be right up at pick 3. But again, is he, being a key defender, is he someone we're going to be looking at too much from a Supercoach point of view, or is it more just it's good for Carlton, but we don't worry too much about Supercoach from that perspective?
Yeah, I mean, it's one of those things, right, where the thing is he's guaranteed a spot in that team the second he rocks up. So it might be just a bit of a safe pick. And he does have potential to score. He's a fantastic disposaler of the ball when he does get it. But as he's more of a tall lockdown intercept kind of guy. So, yeah, he's going to be a cap ceiling. But the floor might be enough to where you can just take him and have him ride the pine for a bit. But it all depends on some of the other guys.
And probably, unfortunately for us too, Carlton aren't the only ones that are going to have to pay. He'll get a premium on his Supercoach price because he gets picked to pick 3. So if you had to be maybe 10 or 12 and basement price, you can take a punt on those kind of guys. But if you're paying 190K for a key defender, it doesn't sound attractive at this stage anyway, until we see what it looks like in the preseason, I suppose.
Yeah, 100%. All right, so moving on to technically a second pick again with West Coast, which is now the 4th pick, and it's a guy I've been high on for about a year now, and you know who I'm on about, Hurls from the Calder Cannons,
I do.
Titler.
I do. CDT. I'm going to ask you some questions here because I know this has been your boy for the best part of 9 months. Your whole keeper league strategy was to dump all of your actual players, finish as far last as you can so that you can target this bloke. Tell us why you're so hot on him, because there's been some, I guess, discussion in the community around, and when I say community, I mean the draft community, about the risk here with him being pick 2 in the open pool, and whether he'll play straight away. Does he make a genuine ruck or not? And these kinds of question marks have been floating around. So why are you so hot on CDT?
Yeah, one of the big things about him, and it's probably to start his career at West Coast, what I can imagine, he'll probably just start up right up forward, which obviously not great for Supercoach straight away. But when he molds into his body a bit, fills out a little bit more, he's still only 18. Once he fills out a bit more, they project him to have a Luke Jackson type of role where he's rucking and then going into the midfield. He's got that Luke Jackson role with the upside as a midfielder. He's fantastic around the ball. He gets real low for such a big guy as well. He's a proper unicorn. He's one of those unicorn prototypes, and he's comp matched to Luke Jackson for good reasons. That if that eventuates, that's absolute Supercoach gold. But for the first season, it's going to be a bit of a worry. Just I imagine he probably just plays as a key forward for most of it.
Yeah, so that's probably when you're talking about draft analysis, people are probably trying to think and project what he could look like in 2-3 years, and whether, I know that the West Coast clearly look like they're going to take that punt. Essendon were very keen. We just missed having him as an NGA, although that would have made the whole draft very different if we had him at NGA. But so look, let's see how he goes. But I know that when we come to our keeper league draft in January or February, I'm expecting that Cal Toomey's phantom draft is going to have one Deadly picking CDT very early.
Yeah. Yeah. He's definitely one on the radar. But without revealing any more of my keeper league secrets, we'll move into the next pick, which for Supercoach Classic is by far and away my number one player for it. So it's Richmond in the open pool. Richmond will attempt to a bid for Dylan Pattinson, and obviously will fail because Gold Coast have a bit behind them now. And it's the second one of their academy guys going in the top 5. Dylan Pattinson, mate, absolute rocket out of defense. He's got elite pace, but he's got a bit of arrogance about him as well. And his disposal has just been awesome. And I tell you the best part I like about him, in most of the carnivals, he was, rocking up wearing number 7, and just the Sideways Miller just was all over him, which is a big call right now, obviously. But he's got a lot of comparisons to Nas, which is so huge. And if he gets in that Gold Coast backline as a halfback, he's straight Supercoach gold to start.
Love it. That's what we want to hear. I think, Gold Coast, they're getting two. I know they're paying up. This year, the draft points changed. So if this was last year, they would have been able to give up peanuts for these two blokes. So at least this year, they have had to scramble a little bit. And as we said up front, they might even miss one of their 4 because of the high bids on these two. But bloody hell, it'd be handy to win a final, have Matt Rowell, have Nas, have Nando's, and then have these two blokes walking in. It's a bloody good position to be in. But that's the lot of these academies, and good luck to them. Our man Brody's going to be very happy with the draft haul.
Yeah, I can imagine we're going to have a few Dylan Patterson fan clubs going around quite soon in the Supercoach community. So into the third pick of the open pool again for Richmond. They're going to attempt to bid again, which it keeps going. But mate, Brisbane just keep getting it all, don't they? Dan Annable, using pick 19, 23, and 39, they will match that bid from Richmond. Dan Annable, mate, he excellent stoppage craft, strong in attack with the ball. He has no fear in the contest, and up there with one of the highest meters gained players. Just looked awesome in the VFL level for Brisbane as well when he played in there. 22 touches, 5 inside 50s, 5 clearances. And my comp match for him is another guy who plays for Brisbane who's not really scared of a stoppage. Any guesses?
I'm probably going to guess someone like a Dunkley, maybe.
Josh Dunkley.
Yeah.
And Brisbane just keep getting it all, don't they?
Unreal. Dunkley's got 5 good years left, so why not blood another bloke who's going to take over from him in a couple? Like it's not fair, but that's the way it goes. I guess the thing that other clubs are going to have to do, and we'll see this start this year when clubs are going to try to pry blokes like Zach Bailey out now that they've got a couple of flags under their belt. They'll try to see if they can, sit a suitcase of $2 million a year underneath their nose and see if that tempts them out of the club. And Brisbane are in a luxurious position that even if they lost someone like that, they've got these blokes coming through to replenish. So it's good luck to them. The rich get richer. But we've had 4 bids in 6 picks. So far only only West Coast have had live picks. So surely Richmond are going to take a pick now. There's no one left. Is there to bid on at this stage?
Yeah, unless they go absolutely ridiculous and try and bid on Adam Swade, which if they do that, oh boy, we're in trouble.
I think it's funny you mentioned that. There is no chance in hell we match it here, so I don't think clubs will be that stupid.
Way.
Far, even though it looks ridiculous to someone who hasn't done much draft watching like the analysis, to have these 4 going already, and people going, oh well, how are they matching so early? Usually we see bids sliding a bit. These guys are legitimate in those positions, which is why they're bidding. Like, you can't take a risk with pick 2 that the other club's going to say, all right, you can have them if you don't really want them. So, but these guys legitimately deserve to be in that top 6. So that's why they're getting bid on that high.
Yeah. So here with the actual third open round pick, a bit of a late riser throughout the second half of the Coates Talent League season in Sally Roby, and you've done a bit of speaking about Sally Roby over the past year. His rise to stardom has really started really quickly, and his Eastern Rangers season was unreal.
Yeah, I don't profess to know much about these kids, but I listen to a lot of Essendon talk because I am an Essendon fan. So all the Essendon Twitter and the conversation that goes on. This one is going to hurt Essendon fans because we were really hopeful that we can get Sully Roby. He's an Essendon fan, and quite interestingly, and I don't know who you're going to bid next because this is the part of the draft that even Cal Toomey is saying it starts to get murky, like who Richmond pick will shape the next bit of the draft. But it's quite interesting that, and we'll talk about him in the next at least 3 or 4 picks, I'm sure. But Xavier Taylor's a mad Richmond fan. Sully Roby's a mad Essendon fan. And in Cal's Phantom draft, he's got him flicking that Richmond take Roby and Essendon take Taylor. So I'll be interested where you're going to go now with the next pick. But this kid, Roby, is the bolter of all bolters, as people will say. Wasn't even in the under 18s team in the Coates League at the start of the year. So that's how far he's come. But good luck to him. He looks like a real complementary type to Lawler when you look at Richmond. If they pick him, it'll be like having your Sam Lawler and Sully Roby ruck rover forward flank change where you always got one of them in the middle. That's going to be, for them, they're going to be salivating over that for a decade.
Yes. Sully Roby's pro comps, obviously two pretty strong midfielders in their time and guys who were able to play a lot at half forward as well in Jordan De Goey and Nat Fyfe, sort of a bit of mix between them two. Obviously not prime those guys, but a bit of mix from those guys. And there's definitely a lot of floor for Sully Roby to just shine. And you just spoke about Xavier Taylor and Sully Roby being fans of Richmond and potentially shaping up the draft. How about they both go to the same club? I've got Xavier Taylor going to
you've got Taylor
Richmond.
going there. So this one's a really interesting one because this is the first alteration, if you like. So far, Deadly has followed Cal Toomey's Phantom draft. The first 6 picks are identical to Cal, but this is a different one. So Cal didn't have Richmond picking Xavier Taylor, but if you listen to the Richmond guy on Gettable on Monday, it sounded for all money like they love this bloke.
Yeah, 100% they do. He's just Mr. Consistent, and I feel like that's what Richmond need. He's never really had a down game in bottom age and whatnot. He leads by example, takes the game on. There's just the one thing with him is he can sort of shift around the ground, and Richmond do like to take a lot of guys who can sort of play a bit of everywhere. He reminds me a bit of Josh Weddle, where he can play far back, can run with the ball, play on the wing, play up forward if needed, a little half forward. And Richmond will like that if they take him. But I think it's more of just a consistency pick more than anything, and I do think they rate him a bit.
Yeah, I think I wouldn't be surprised if they're the 2 names Richmond call out. They've obviously done a little bit of work on a couple of others, so namely Cumming, Farrow, and probably Grill was highly expected to be in the mix for them earlier maybe in the month, but as the times got closer, maybe that's cooling a bit in the speculation stakes. But I think the Richmond supporters are going to be wrapped with that mix. If you got the mid half forward bull and you've got the half back flank interceptor dashing kind of guy who maybe even does go more mid forward later as well. That's a huge draft night for the Tigers.
Yeah, it'd be one of the they'll take 2 of the 4 out of Cumming, Roby, Grill, and Taylor. Really, maybe Farrow, but he's probably outside of those 4. But those will be the guys that they'll look at. Now, moving on to our boys, Essendon. I think if this bloke's still there after Richmond take their 2 picks, it's going to be almost impossible for us to not take Sam Cumming at 9. He's a bit of a do-it-all midfielder, can play half forward. He's just a lock to go top 10, really. He played awesome for North Adelaide Sandful side when he played for them. And, yeah, mate, he can play anywhere in the middle, forward, wing. He's going to be a guy we're going to look at for sure if he slides past Richmond.
Yeah, I think. I mean, it seems like we're taking whichever one Richmond doesn't, right? So we're a bit whatever you want to call it. We're reliant on whoever's left, but I think we would love it if we could get sort of 2 of the same 4 that Richmond are looking at. So if you talk Roby, Taylor, Cumming, and I don't think we're really overly interested in Grill. So probably take him out of the equation. But I think out of those 3, whichever of those last 3 picks Richmond don't take, I think that's the one we take. So if Richmond take Cumming because they've apparently flown up to Mildura late last week to visit him, all that kind of stuff, if they take him instead of one of those 2, I think our pick will be the one that's left out of these 3. So, and I think we'll be happy with that. I think either way, they're all going to be very good footballers. Is he going to be maybe a forward status as a super coacher? I know he played a lot of forward and mid time.
I would imagine forward mid. Yeah, I would imagine forward mid. It would surprise me if he didn't. We actually didn't really speak about the super coach potential for these guys. Dan Annable, not really super coach relevant. If he plays, it's probably wing at best. And I'm not sure he's like 100% locked into that straight away. Sully Robe is an interesting one. I'm not sure he gets the jump straight away, though. Xavier Taylor is probably one we will look at. And Cumming as a potential forward mid will be a guy we will look at, I reckon.
Yeah, nice. All right, who you got for our second pick, mate?
Yeah, so this is a bit of an interesting one. We could play a bit of strategy here, Bombers, and we haven't been able to do that for a while. So I'm fairly sure I know who Melbourne are going to take with their 2 picks. It's pretty well publicised who they're going to take. So there is potential we could leave Dyson Sharp on the board and potentially take someone else that we like who might be a Melbourne guy that they like, in hopes that they don't take Dyson Sharp, because I don't think they would like him very much. Yeah, and we could go for a guy like a Jacob Farrow. But I do think we just do play it safe, take Dyson Sharp and lock in that big bull of a midfielder. He's got captain written all over him when Zach Merritt eventually calls time. Dyson Sharp, he's tough, uncompromising.
Some may say we'll need someone in between those 2 because Zach Merritt's probably captaincy days are over. But I know what you mean.
Yeah, give it to John Caldwell. But yeah, there is definitely opportunity for Essendon. If they sort of realise that Melbourne don't like Dyson Sharp, we could snipe a Jacob Farrow who looks really, really good, and hope Sharp falls to us at 13.
I think the risk here, I've heard
there is a bit of risk about it.
Yeah, I've heard the theory, and I think, I guess it depends. We don't know what Rosa thinks, and whether if we desperately want Sharp, I think I think we just pick him, because I don't think you can take the risk that, not necessarily, because I agree with you, Melbourne might not pick him. They picked Langford last year. I don't know that they're necessarily overly interested in Sharp. But what might happen is you might get an Adelaide or a Collingwood on the phone to Melbourne trying to trade into that spot. And then it leaves us with blokes that we don't really want. The other one that I have heard we could do similar with, if not Farrow, could be that we take Doveston there, because there might be a chance that Melbourne are into him. So it'll be interesting how Richmond play it. Then that flow on will be how to Essendon play it, because it does impact the first sort of dozen picks, because we obviously are going to want three out of these 5 picks sit with us. So we're going to try to manufacture the three guys that we want. But I don't know what Rose's tiers are going to look like. I think they'll play it on tiers more than on exact order, I reckon.
Yep, 100%. And moving on to Melbourne picks, as I said, it's pretty well documented that they will take Jacob Farrow if he's available at pick 11, which good pick for them. Can't knock that at all. He looks a good footballer.
First WA boy
kick
off the board. He's
yeah.
he's WA boy, and he looks like a halfback / midfielder.
The big thing with him is he looks and plays almost identical to the way Jordan Dawson did when he was coming out and started down back and sort of made his transition his way into the midfield. It's almost identical the way he looks.
Yep.
Yeah, he's going to be fun to watch, and definitely a guy that will complement a guy like Christian Salem for Melbourne.
And I think for all of us who are going to be looking at Supercoach, this is great that West Coast have got 2 picks, Richmond have got 2 picks, Essendon have got 2 picks, Melbourne have got 2 picks, or Essendon have got 3, and North are even traded up to 11. Like, these are teams that historically have had to play kids. So we could, with the sub now gone, we could get some real cash cows out of these guys, although the trade-off is they're going to be inflated prices. So that's the other side of it, but so be it.
Yeah. And got to scroll down a little bit to find this next bloke. There he is.
He's the other bolter from nowhere.
Yeah, Cam Nan. He's Melbourne have got super strong love for this bloke, and I can see it a little bit. He looked pretty good in his South A games, Sandfell under 18 games. He looked really, really good, and he'll more than likely start out on a wing for them and be a bit of a transitioning forward, a bit like the way Mason Wood plays for St Kilda. Just transition forward, Ollie Dempsey, those sorts of push forward wingers. And he's got a bit of centre midfield craft about him. He played it in the sort of the back end of the season in the Sandful under 18. So yeah, there's a bit about him. I still think it's a bit weird. I feel like not many other teams are really looking at him. There was probably maybe potential to trade down, but yeah, they really like him, and he's just been invited to go to the draft live. So you expect him to probably go in that top 15 and probably to Melbourne at pick 12, which sort of leaves us with our guy. We'll move on.
Yep.
Lockie Doveston, who is pretty well documented that he would probably be the guy we take if he's available at 13. It'll be, those 3 are the guys we'd take if Roby, Taylor, or Cumming, whoever's available there, and then Sharp and Doveston look to be the other guys we really like.
Yeah. So talk to me about Doveston, because trading up to get a small forward in historical terms, if you take Watson and Pickett out of the equation as 2 recent examples that are really high picks as small forwards that have worked, and I guess Kako to a lesser extent, even though he was high pick, he was attached to our NGA. Like, historically, there's been some big busts moving up this high in the draft for small forwards, like your Billings and these kind of guys. Like, what kind of player is he, and why are we so keen to move up to get this bloke?
Oh, I think he described himself pretty well. He described himself the other day as the classic small forward with a bit of swagger and a bit of a pest. And just off that, I want to draft him, and I want to make sure we have him, because that's all awesome. And I love a guy like that. No, he's a bit of a live wire forward. Just got a great nose for goal. Loves to chase. We're sort of building a half forward line that just loves to just attack people. It's great. And
we haven't had one for a long time. So look, if this pick works, I love the profile. I don't know much about Doveston. I'd be lying if I said I saw him play. I've seen some highlights. He clearly kicked a lot of goals this year. I think 53 across all competitions. But the modern AFL footy is ground balls, right? So I think it makes sense. Let's hope that we can develop him and he can become a good small forward.
Yeah, the Mosquito fleet's definitely starting to form with him. And this is sort of the first slide. But if you sort of look at the people that got taken above him, it's not really a slide, because no one besides Richmond was really looking at Sam Grill. But Hawthorn at 14 will 100% take him. He's the best pure athlete in the whole draft. And he's so quick, so good with breaking the lines. He's awesome. He's pretty tough for being how skinny he is, which it's really, really nice to see. And honestly, I hate the fact that this is such a good get for Hawthorn. Like, he
seems to fit their profile, doesn't it? Answer this question for me, though. This is one that I don't quite understand. So Richmond were into him, and he played a bit in their VFL team during the year, and there was rumours they were high on him at pick, 3 or 4 or whatever they've got.
Yeah.
Why then Essendon, Melbourne overlooking him to let him get this far down? Is it just a a list profile? Like what's the
it's mainly
reason?
list profile, sort of just team needs and just different scouts look at different things and different team needs and whatnot. Melbourne have sniffed out that Jacob Farrell and Cam Nan are the guys that they want, and Essendon has sniffed out that we sort of got our group of guys as well. And Sam Grill sort of just stands on the outside of all of that.
Good get then for Hawthorn, and suits their slingshot style of footy, mix of endurance and pace. So good for them. So now tell me here, Deadly, and we've got some great North Melbourne people involved in our podcast. So shout out to our mate Squid if you're watching. Tell me that they're not picking another mid at this pick. Surely they've moved up the board for something else other than another midfielder.
Well, I've got them. They're going to have to wait a second because I have them placing a bid on Harry Kyle from Sydney, and they'll use pick 25 and 26 to get him back. So yeah, Harry Kyle will go to Sydney. Just a bit of a bulldozer.
I was going to say he's one I haven't really heard much about. What's his story?
He's like the thing is with him is he's going to be good, but he's just so raw that he needs time to develop. So he will sit in, the VFL for Sydney for a few years. But there is a bit of attention for him. He played well for the Allies and national champs. He's like a bit of a good rebound 50 guy, really decent in the air. Just more of a Carl Amon, those type of exit 50s type of guys. But it'll take a bit for him to develop. So he's probably not an option for at least a couple of years, I wouldn't reckon. And yes, to the North Melbourne fans, you're not taking a midfielder in my eyes. One of the guys I was hyped up about pre-Coates Talent League was Josh Lindsay out of the Geelong Falcons. Really, really nice halfback flank from him. Loves to run and carry, generate plays out of defence. Very good by foot. He got All Australian halfback honours. He's the best left foot kick to come through pathways since Hayden Young, which unreal get for North Melbourne if that's the case.
So does he? His super coach impact then probably is interesting because it probably is a couple of dimensions to whether he plays. If he does, going to be that elite ball user on the half back line would be a good super coach sort of option if he gets a game. But the other thing that he does to the others, because we know that we've all picked McKercher in the past. We've had Caleb Daniel last year. Hopefully he becomes irrelevant now. So does this do something to their back line? They had Hardiman. So to me, this sounds like, again, another spot they've tried to fill but maybe haven't yet. Does this allow others to be released? Is that why they would go for this type, do you think?
Yeah, he's going to be, when he's ready, and I can't imagine it'll be too long before he's ready for AFL football, he's going to be like the quarterback. This is going to be the guy that we are looking at for Supercoach when he makes his debut, and it's just a key position of need for the Roos, isn't it? Like they needed a halfback, a strong leader, elite ball user, just a type of guy like that. And Josh Lindsay was the top 5 shout pre-season, so it's really nice to see them get him at 16. And I think North Melbourne fans will be really, really happy with that sort of pick.
I think the other thing for North fans, I think what would be really they'd be really happy with is they've dipped into next year to get back into pick whatever that ends up being. It's 11 down to 15 or 14, whatever it becomes. But after last year's trade, getting the twin, what was his name? I can't remember. It escapes me for a second. Whitlock. It sort of took them out of that part of the draft, and so now to get back in, I think that's a good thing. I know that Melbourne do this a lot too. I don't know why more teams don't do it, like sell next year's and then just keep selling next year's every year.
Yeah,
you never have to worry about next year. It never comes, right, if you keep selling the year after. So I don't mind what they've done here because it looked like that was a horrible move at the time, but they've got back in. They got the key position, and if you look at these guys, except for bids, there hasn't been any key positions in this draft. So I kind of get the rationale a bit why they did it last year, even though you could argue, did they give too much? Maybe, but I sort of understand it now that I can see who's in this draft.
Yeah. All right. So moving on to GWS, pick 17. It's really like pick 12 or 11 or something ridiculous anyway. Might even be earlier. I've got Latrell Pickett, cousin of Cozzy from Glenelg. Plays very like Cozzy, to be honest. Giants have really been on him. Everyone sort of has him ranked at like mid-20s, like almost a day two type of guy. But the Giants have really been on him. It'd be a pretty bold call to take him at 17, to be honest, because in the past 2 years, they've taken Phoenix Gothard and Ollie Hannaford, who are two small forwards of their future. So taking a third one would be a bit odd, but it's a guy that they're really interested in by the looks.
There you go.
And
I know he toured the hangar 2 days ago as well, so we've had a bit of a look. We've had a bit of a look, but I don't know if he fits in with our draft pick. If we had those picks in the 20s still, it probably does, but I'm not sure pick 9 or whatever would. But interesting one. I think GWS are renowned for just liking someone and just going and targeting them, right? That's what they do every year. So if that's their man, that's their man.
Yep, 100%. I think it will be. Moving on to West Coast, pick 18, which won't be their pick because I believe they will try and bid for Jai Murray, Gold Coast Tide player. They'll have to use pick 35 and 46, and they're really starting to get down on picks now after their third bid. And they'll go to Gold Coast. He'll go to Gold Coast, and actually have to make up a little bit of deficit for that pick, which I think will do pretty convincingly.
What's he bring? Like this is the third of their 4. I think they've got 4 academy guys, so this is the third one. What's he sort of bring to the team if he's going to play?
Yep. So he missed all of his top age season with a foot injury, but his bottom age season was once again unreal. Started for Gold Coast Academy, played VFL level as a 17-year-old. Very rare to do. He's just got a blend of speed, endurance off the wing. Another guy who'll just grow to be a very good winger in the league and potentially transition into other positions if need be. But if he gets a run straight away, it'll be on the wing.
Nice.
And this is why I believe West Coast will try and bid for Jai Murray. I think they're going to try and play a bit sneaky and go for, once I find him, Bo Adensall. Now, he is another one of those Gold Coast Tide players, but as we know, they're now in a deficit with matching bids, and they're not going to be able to get him. So this will work in West Coast favour too, and they're not going to be able to keep all of them. And it's sort of been documented. Adensall said it himself the other day that, we know that we can't keep all 5 of us around, and it looks like I might be the one on the way out. I'm happy to play for whether it's Gold Coast or I'm happy to move. It's whatever happens. And
West Coast I think West Coast supporters that I've heard talking about the draft have been really keen to get a mid. So this will be good for them because they actually get the mid. I guess the Russian roulette here is, though, do Gold Coast rate this guy more than the last guy, or do they take so which one do they sort of blink on? I'd say West Coast must have done their work. If this is the order they're going to do it in, they must know that this is the one that the Gold Coast would be happy to give up, and it does make some sense. If he's an inside mid, they've got Matt Rowell, they've got all these other inside mids, so that probably is the one that they could say, all right, we can let one go.
Yeah. I think Adensall's probably the one that will be let go. And I think West Coast will absolutely love that. He's a definite top 10 player if he wasn't academy tied or anything like that. For the Western Bulldogs, now this is an interesting one because it's sort of been documented that if they don't get Josh Lindsay down here, that they've been really all over halfbacks, which I don't know why. We know as Western Bulldogs, their key back position's really, really lacking.
Yeah.
So it's been said that if they don't get Josh Lindsay, they'll probably trade back. But for purposes of this, if they don't trade back, I think they have to fill up the key defender position and take Sturt key defender Blake Threadgold, who looks a real good key back, projects to be a good lockdown defender, has a lot of clubs keen for him. Was best on ground in Sturt's under-18s grand final win. He's got a bit of just like a Sam Collins type of build about him, just huge, big, lumbering guy, just big interceptor.
Yep.
So, it'd be a good pick to shore up Bulldogs' defense if they take him.
Be interesting. I think Bevo's a bit allergic to key defenders, so maybe they do trade back or something and see what happens there. But be curious what they do. Again, this is now a part of the draft because there's been so many bids. I mean, what are we up to? This is pick 19 or 20 when it should be pick what is it, 13 or something? Like,
Yeah.
it's crazy how many bids there's been. But anyway, it is what it is.
Yep. And now moving into Adelaide, there's a few. It's pretty well documented that Adelaide are probably going to take an Adelaide born and raised guy, and the best available now is Mitch Marsh. Australia, not to be confused
Bison.
with Australian cricketer Mitch Marsh. But yeah, there's going to be plenty of local talent to choose from. Huge engine. Just he's a third tall, but he can play on a wing if needed. And I feel like they want to move him up to a wing just because of his running capacity, which is unreal to have. That's sort of the big thing with him is they don't know where they want to play him, but he probably will start as a third tall.
Maybe the Tex Walker replacement. They've got
that's sort of
big
what they've got him.
So
that's what they've got him written down as now, and I think that makes a bit of sense. Decent pick from Adelaide, I reckon.
Nice. I've seen a bit of him because I've watched a bit of footage of Cumming and Sharp because they're in Essendon's mix. He's in every highlight reel with them both. So he's just he gets a lot of score assists. So I think it's a good move if that's their plan, is to sort of replace Walker. And I think it probably did show out in the finals as well that you probably want that third tall to be the gut runner that can transition, which is exactly what his traits look like he is. So it makes sense to me when you're saying they're going to pick him.
It's almost a perfect list pick, to be honest.
Yeah.
All right, and then we have Geelong up now, but they're going to have to wait a bit because Carlton's rest of their picks are going to get used for Jack Ison, I believe.
So there's been a lot of talk about Dean, but what about Ison? What are Carlton fans expecting here?
Yeah, so they sort of were expecting Ison to be maybe around the pick 45 kind of guy.
Wow.
And they'd be able to get him pretty easy. And then his strong finish to the year just moved him up so quick. And they've been forced to make trades just to keep this guy, mainly more than Dean, really. He can play forward or mid, depends what they do. Coates League grand final, well, in the wildcard game anyway, in the finals, he averaged a goal a game, 30 touches, 10 clearances, 5 tackles. So he's got a bit about him. 27 touches in the loss to Sandy in the semis. Bit of a Zach Bailey type. Can play mid, can play forward. Good.
That's enough, Deadly. I don't want to hear about any good players going to Carlton. Okay, I've spoken complimentary about them earlier. I'm done. So let's move on. Good on. I think it's good if they get this guy. They know they're taking him, right? That's why they're doing the trade. So that's what you got to do when you've got access, and they're getting more talent next year with Walker and co. So that's just going to be their lot for the couple of years in a row. They're going to have to match bids and take the talent that they've got linked to them.
Yep, 100%. And for Geelong, I have them taking a bit of a slider. This guy has been linked to potentially go as high as about 16. Could go anywhere in this range, really. Oscar Taylor.
Okay.
A bit about him.
Looks good.
Good defender, best in class speed, good for bursting out of defense. Just he's sort of a modern day attacking halfback, which is what you want to hear for especially Supercoach. Good left foot kicking. He's like a Jordan Clark type of mold, just a pure halfback. Good by foot, does well.
Yeah. Good below his knees in congestion too. I know a few of the Essendon fans that when we had picks 21, 27, 30, this was one of the guys a few of them were really keen on. So unfortunately he might land at Geelong, but good young player and probably versatile, which suits them again. They love these kind of players.
Yeah. Fremantle up next, which this one's going to spell a bit of danger for another club that is not named Fremantle. So Sydney up here, I've got them matching a bid for Harry Kyle at 15. And I think Lockie Carmichael will have to get matched here using picks 35 and 37, which it's going to be touch and go because they've got guys like a Max King who they're probably going to have to try and bid and save at pick 30 or something as well.
Yeah. And
those are guys that they're going to want to keep, but they've got to have to make a trade to at least get some more points because it's going to be, if Lockie Carmichael gets bid on before the Dockers, he's probably going to go elsewhere.
Yeah. What number are we up to? Is about 20, because I can't see that. The screen's too small for me. 24. Yeah. So this is where Freo are really going to make some teams pay, right? Like, there's rumours that they could bid on this guy that you're talking about. Then maybe one of the West Coast blokes. They've got a few that they could bid, and even maybe make us pay up for Swade, which will make us make a decision because of the trade that we did. We don't have huge points, so if the bid does come at this stage of the draft, we have to make a decision too. Do we take him or not?
Yep. And I think it's going to be good business from Freo because I, once again, as you just said, have him making him pay up West Coast for wherever he is. Can't find him now. Oh, here we are. Tyler Williams using picks 29 and 35. So, yeah, they're making some guys pay up, which fair business strategy, I guess. Good. Their players are as good as the pick. So if they do let him go, they're not going to be complaining.
Yep. Fair call. I think in my view, I reckon this should happen all the time. Like the days of like Dacos going pick 4 instead of pick 1, I think should be gone. Like clubs should be bidding where they think these guys are worth, so that clubs have to pay. Everyone knows that the draft's compromised. We know this year more so than any other year, but if you have to pay fair price, I think we can live with it. It's when you get them at discounts and then they slide back. So you're already getting the 10 or 20%. Then they slide back 10 picks. It's ridiculous how clubs have been able to match. So if people have to pay, they have to pay. I think it's good that this year it seems like some of these clubs are going to have to make some choices. Do we take all of the guys that are linked to us, or do we let some go?
Yeah, 100%. And just on Tyler Williams, bit like Darcy Jones, just a quick small forward, real standout moments every now and again, just shines when needed. And it's a good pickup for West Coast. I reckon they've had a good draft already. All right, for Freo, I have them taking just a development guy. They seem to be, trusting their team, and I believe that they will take Harley Barker, who really outstanding talent, real good winger. But he ruptured his ACL late last month, so he'll miss the whole of next season pretty much. Not much to speak on for a Supercoach point of view, but it'll be good for Freo in a couple of years, sorting out their wing position, have him and Sharp as the wings locked down.
Yeah. I know that a lot of the content creators looking at the draft are massive on this guy. Clearly the year off is going to mean he slides to about here rather than be as early as he might have been if he played all year. But, damaging winger, a little bit Ollie Dempsey-ish. Good pick for Freo, who can probably afford to pick someone like that.
Yeah. And another big slider is going to be Aiden Schubert, who I've seen him as projected as high as 12. I've seen him, he's a really good prospect, but it's just no real teams are looking for key forwards. The only real key forward that's been taken so far has been Mitch Marsh. And he's definitely going to get picked by Adelaide if not taken later.
Yeah.
But Schubert could be a real steal for Hawthorn at pick 27. Real big backing behind this guy, good above his head.
Yeah, another good pick if it lands there. Another good pick if he lands there. I wonder if is that North that have got the next pick. I wonder if they would be keen to try to swap spots to get that guy. Like I think he would really suit a North Melbourne too. Schubert, who is probably, like you said, he's touted to be the best key forward, but he can also go play that second ruck. He's not a lumbering slow bloke. So,
yep. And this one's going to hurt a little bit because we have North Melbourne attempting to bid for Adam Swade.
So what does that do to us if the bid is there? Do we go into deficit? Do we what's the story?
We're 300 points in deficit, so we'd have to make that back up later on. 100%.
Yeah, which I think for us, I think we have to do something there to avoid that deficit. You would imagine even the most optimistic Essendon supporter is going to say that we're probably bottom 6 to 8 at best, maybe bottom 4 next year. So if we're that low, you can't be compromising that first pick for a guy that's valued at pick 25. So whatever we have to do to match the bid to not go into deficit to lose a place or two in next year's draft, I think we just have to do it. If it means we have to give up a future something to get back into a pick to not go into deficit, I think we have to.
Yeah.
Or we let him go. And I think that's the risk for these clubs that might bid on him. There is a legitimate world where we go, you know what? We can't go into deficit and we're just not going to take him.
Yep.
We like him, but we don't like him that much.
It's going to be a big worry if he gets bid any further.
Yeah.
Up. So for North Melbourne, after skimping us out of some points, I believe they will take Archie Ludowick.
Oh, nice.
Yeah, another key forward. So they probably, if Schubert was available, they'd take him 100%. But hang on, that's glitched out. Give me a second here. But yeah, they'd take Schubert for sure, and Schubert for sure. Sorry, Ludowic's had a fair few injuries, which has sort of knocked him back a bit. But he sort of shows up in a lot of games, but then goes invisible in a few as well. But he's got plenty of talent, and if he can sort of just make it a consistency thing, he'll be really good for North Melbourne as their key forward.
So what stage is the cutoff for round one? Are we still in round one, or have we moved into the start of round two here?
That pick, I believe, is the cutoff now.
So this is where night one of the draft will finish, and then they'll come back for night two. We'll probably do about 30 picks here, so there might be a couple to go. But yeah, if you're wondering where the cutoff is, interestingly, what's that? How many is that? 20? Is it 28? 29. 29 picks in round one this year, which I think is about equal to the record. And it's quite crazy if you think about round one going to pick 29, which is why in trade week when they say, oh, you're knocking back 4 first round picks, like, really? They're picked 29. They're not bloody 2. So it's interesting. All right, who we got then? We'll do up to 30. So we've got another pick or 2 to go.
Yeah. We'll speak about pick 30, and I'll go up to 35 just so I have a bit of backing, and I can brag a bit more if I get a few more right.
Yeah, and then what we'll do as well, we'll just to wrap up after we get to 35, we might just have a look at your perspective on maybe any blokes that are Supercoach relevant, any that aren't picked yet that are going to be bargain basement that might be in line for an early game wherever they land because they're ready. Yeah. That kind of thing, I think it'd be good to wrap us up, and then we'll maybe finish it off within an hour and 15 so that horse doesn't kick our ass.
Beautiful. So, bit spicy for pick 30 as well. Save the best for last. We have the Western Bulldogs up at pick 30. I don't think this sticks. As I said before, there's a bit going on with them, and I think there is one specific team that has been dying to move into the first round. And I think St Kilda will do anything they can, whether it be pick 44 plus a future second, which seems likely. It seems like the likely way, but I think they'll definitely try it. They've been trying to move into the first round the whole time, and they probably will. They will say for funny purposes they'll do that, and they'll take Javon Philippou, brother of Matthias.
How is he still on the board? Like, I've heard people saying he could go anywhere at 15 or so.
Yeah, he's he could go pretty high, but the problem is just it's position and need thing once again. He's just you find a few guys like him, but if St Kilda can trade up to around 30 spot, 35 spot and get him, they'll be laughing. They've already won the draft in their eyes.
Yeah, perfect. And like he's from what I understand, he's just an athlete. Like it's more like the footy craft needs to be developed a little bit, but absolute beast of a runner and all that kind of stuff. Is that right? Is that how he sort of lands?
Yeah, 100%. And shout out to Dale, who just about halfway through the show said St Kilda trap for pick 32 for Javon Philippou.
There you go.
Gotcha.
Trumped you for pick 30 instead.
Yeah. All right. And then last 5 picks, we'll just sort of go through them pretty quickly. I have Ollie Greaves going to GWS, which is a big slide for a guy like him.
Still on the board as well. Yeah. He was rumoured at pick 5 or 6 to Essendon at one stage.
He was huge before he had a few down games. I think copped an injury as well. So, yeah, definitely a good get for GWS to bolster their midfield stocks a little bit. Max King will have to be bid on, and Sydney will try and do anything they can to match this, which will put him in deficit. They'll probably want to keep him, and if they have another guy later on, I'm not sure they do actually, to be honest, but they're going to try and want to keep all three of their guys, 100%.
Yeah.
So they'll find a way to do that.
And we'll see live trades happening because teams will know, what's going on with this. Like Essendon, I don't think we're going to deficit, not in next year's draft because the last draft before Tassie. So I don't think teams would want to go too far into deficit for next year. So we'll probably see some pick trading going on to make up points and that kind of stuff around here.
Yeah. And then Noah Hibbins-Hargreaves going to Melbourne at pick 33.
Another great pick, so low. I've heard him likened to the footy IQ of a Murphy Reid, not as good as a player, but the footy IQ being off the charts. Yeah. So that'd be awesome. That low for Melbourne.
And then Richmond picking Leon Kickett, very small forward, just another little gut runner for them. And then Collingwood will most likely want to boost their midfield depth, whether it be with the guy I believe they're taking Riley Onley or with Fred Rodriguez, who I believe Geelong will take with 36.
Yeah, WA boy plays at South Freo, the club that my stepdaughter plays at. He's a good lad, Fred. Hopefully he gets picked up somewhere. I think he will. Somewhere in this range is about likely. It's actually really interesting because it seems like it's not going to be by a WA club. It looks like a club in Vic is more likely than
a Vic club.
Yeah.
He's if he falls to Carlton, they're at 39. They're almost going to guaranteed take him, I've been told.
Yep.
So he'll fall anywhere in that round. Only real surprise is Lewis Emmett, who he's probably should have been taken by now. Yeah, ruck forward probably should have been taken by now. There's potential that the Bulldogs do take him if they don't trade for him.
Is there there's another ruck in there too, isn't there, with some really weird ass name? I can't remember.
Hang on. Yeah, where is he? I know who you're on about, but yeah, he's like the best pure ruck prospect. He's gonna. I don't know if he's gonna get picked. To be honest, he might be. Maybe I don't know. I can't find him.
I can't remember. I know his name's weird. It's long and it's weird. Yeah. So anyway, we'll see if that happens on night 2 of the draft. So we might stop. Like if I don't hold Deadly up, he'll use this toy for the next 3 hours. So we'll pull you up on picks there, mate. But I'd love to get your perspective on a couple of Supercoach angles. Like give us your in the top sort of 15 picks that have the premium on them. Who are the 2 players that you think are going to be in everyone's team come team picker? Not necessarily round 1 because a lot of water has to go under that bridge, but team picker, who are the two out of the top 15 that we're all going to start in our team picker teams?
Yeah, I think it's going to be hard to not start with Dylan Patterson if he starts round 1 for Gold Coast in a beautiful role.
Yep.
And I think much could be said the same about Willem Dersma. He's going to get start for West Coast, probably a halfback to start his career. So,
yep. Nice.
Yeah, I think it's going to happen.
Those 2. And what about give me 2 others from the next 15 then or 20 that you just did that you think equally could be, because they'll be a bit cheaper now, right? If you fall past, I think it's usually about pick 18 where you start getting basement price. So anyone in that range 18 plus that you think, gee, they're going to be 130,000 and they're going to get early games.
Yeah, so there's a few guys I like here. Bo Adensall, if he does actually go to West Coast, that'll be huge. For us, Oscar Taylor at Geelong, 100% if he gets a run. And another guy I really like, where was he? Jack Ison. Yeah, 100%. Nice. He'll probably get a run for Carlton.
Nice. So we might have a midfield that includes Jagger Smith and Jack Ison in our teams. Yes. When I say we, I use that term liberally. I won't have those 2 in my team. I think if I have to pick Jagger Smith, I'll stop at one Carlton player. We'll see how we go. But what about someone that we didn't necessarily talk about tonight, Deadly, that maybe you haven't mentioned going to a team in the top 30 that you're really keen on where they land because they could be someone we're interested in?
Now, this is what I wanted to speak
about. Give us 1 or 2 of them. I know you love thinking about some of these rough diamonds. So
I've got Cody Curtin going to Adelaide at pick 45, Dan Curtin's brother. And if he's anything like his brother, they reckon he could be very similar to him. Obviously not as good as Dan, but he's a very similar mold to him. Absolutely huge bloke. He could be an absolute superstar. Another guy I really like is Rory Wright from Sandringham.
Yep.
Got him going to Freo, which might happen, but I know he's linked to Collingwood a little bit. So if he gets a run, he's 100% another guy. And this one might pay me a little bit to say Hurls, because I have the Western Bulldogs going and trying to bid on Hussein El Akhtar, and we're
Okay.
not going to have the points.
So just tell me, what number is the Bulldogs bid?
47.
Oh, that's okay. We're good. As long as it's after 38, it just takes your next pick. It doesn't cost points.
Okay.
So
yeah.
So
I don't even know if we have a pick after that, to be honest. So.
Yeah, you do. So what happens when you bid? They just give you a fake number down the back. So we'll end up with 100 and something. And once a bid, so for those who have got bids that they're going to match, and as Essendon supporters, I'm keen on this one as much as Swade, because we want him to get through the draft and no one bids, because we can then take him as a Cat B rookie. That's our best case scenario. Second best scenario, if we want him, assuming we want him, is that the bid comes after 38. But I think if the bid comes before 38, we can't match it. We've got no chance. So teams will know that. So if somebody rates him highly, don't be surprised if that bid comes in 35, 36, 37, because they know we're stuffed. But if it comes after 38, all you have to give up is your next arbitrary number, which doesn't have any points attached. Points stop at 38. So hopefully we end with him. But yeah, I don't know whether we're going to. Essendon are playing a bit of ducks and drakes with that stuff as to whether we're going to take both Swade and El Ashkar or not.
Yeah. Another cheeky one, just by the way, could be Kai Fincher. He'll go as a
St Kilda. Is that a St Kilda?
Yeah. He's a little sneaky option if he gets a run at any point. And a guy who might even go undrafted, but Toby Wan to Freo. He'll be
another WA boy.
They'll pick him up as a rookie lister. And good potential on him.
Love it. So, mate, thanks for the work that you're doing on this. I know that, this is becoming a bit of a saturated market around draft time, and I know I've watched far too many mock drafts and all that kind of stuff. I hope, though, that the people that are watching us tonight, we're not here to try to rival Cal Toomey or anything, but what we are trying to do is give you a bit of a Supercoach lens, a bit of different perspective on some of this stuff. I know that the work that you put in to watching these kids play is, second to none in our community. Like you love it, and you talk about these kids all year, and it really helps us when we're thinking about, our downgrade targets during the year, about who might be in the VFL or whatever the equivalent is, the waffle reserves and all that kind of stuff, for us to be thinking about bringing in when they come in as a round 10, round 12 downgrade. And so this is almost like Christmas for you, mate. So I appreciate your efforts to put all this together and to do the thing, because when Horse said, can we run this show tonight, I must admit, I said to him, look, I'm keen if Deadly does it, because he's the man who knows stuff. I don't know jack shit about these kids. I know what others have told me, but that's not adding a lot of insight, just third-hand info. So it's great to have someone who actually is invested in this stuff and can show us a bit of Supercoach relevance, because I think that's something that all of our listeners, at least, are probably more interested in, the Supercoach angle than just their team, because they're probably already aware of what their team's going to grab.
Yeah, 100%. Just quickly, we'll answer this one from Chabby Joe. G'day, fellas. I see that CDT is off the West Coast. Any chance that they could go with someone like a Sharp, or you're quite confident CDT makes it there? I feel like this decision will shape the top 10. I feel like it's going to be hard now, with how well documented it is, that he doesn't go to West Coast. They're going to want, key forward ruck. They see him as a Luke Jackson prototype, and it's going to be hard to talk about that if that's what they see out of him.
It seems. I mean, I know nothing, so I'm not really giving you any intel here, except my perception of what would happen if they thought that they didn't want CDT. I would imagine they would be trading with Essendon really quickly.
Yeah. They would have done it already.
Or at least there would be talk of it. So because there's no talk of it, I think that tells me that they want CDT. Otherwise, they would have been really keen to try to get back in the draft and pick a Sharp at pick 7 or something, rather than because every draft mock I've seen has us taking Sharp at our probably our second pick, whatever number that ends up at.
Would be 10. But
So if they were more interested in Sharp than CDT, that'd be crazy not to try to trade pick 2 to us and get that second pick plus something else. So that's why I think it probably won't happen, but not because I know anything about the players.
All right, and just to finish off, ladies and gents, we'll just quickly go through our predicted top 30. So we have Willem Dersma, pick 1, going to the West Coast Eagles. Seki Uland getting bid and going back to Gold Coast, back to his home to pair up with his brother Bodie. Carlton matching a bid for Harry Dean. Cooper Duff-Tytler going to West Coast. Dylan Patterson getting his bid matched and ending back at Gold Coast. Dan Annable, the same thing, bid matched back to Brisbane. Sullivan Roby off to Richmond. Xavier Taylor off to Richmond. Sam Cunning at pick 9 to Essendon. Dyson Sharp at pick 10 off to Essendon. Jacob Farrow and Cam Mann back-to-back by Melbourne. Lockie Doverston off to Essendon. Sam Grill going to Hawthorn. Sydney matching a bid for Harry Kyle. North Melbourne selecting Josh Lindsay, halfback out of Geelong. GWS taking Latrell Pickett, cousin of Cozzy. Gold Coast matching a bid for Jai Murray. West Coast taking Bo Addisonal. The Western Bulldogs taking Blake Threadgold. Adelaide taking Mitch Marsh at pick 21. Jack Ison getting his bid matched to go back to Carlton. Oscar Taylor going to Geelong at pick 23. Lockie Carmichael, pick 24, back to Sydney. Tyler Williams, back to West Coast at pick 25. Harley Barker to Freo at pick 26. Aiden Schubert at 27 to Hawthorn. Adam Sway getting his bid match to Essendon at 28. Archie Ludwig to North Melbourne at 29. And St Kilda trading up into the first round for Javon Philippou at pick 30.
Awesome effort, mate. How many? Give us your overs and unders of how many you reckon you're going to get right. What's your ballpark?
Out of my top 30, give me 16.5. I reckon I get over half of them.
All right, 16.5 is the line, ladies and gentlemen. If you want to jump in our Patreon and Lockie Bramble,
flame me when I get two.
$1.81 each of two. So we'll see how we go for the 16.5 line for Deadly. But no, that's been brilliant, mate. Just a last minute plug. And I'll let you do this because I am on holidays from Insight. This has been great to get back and talk some footy again and get online. And I've been spending a lot of my time as a super coach NFL player more than a content creator and loving my season going and over there. I just cracked into the top 260, I think it is this week. So I'm going pretty well. But what other things can the people at home tune into? I know you're doing some great stuff. There is so much sport going on at Insight. What else is happening, mate?
Yeah, mate, plenty going on. We got Horse, Brain, bloody everyone. We got Mally, Broads. We've got a team of 6 doing NBA stuff. They're going every day. They're doing outstanding work. Me, Brano, and Horse just kicking off BBL content as well. Me and Josh doing some EPL content once a week as well. We've got a video coming out later this week, which quite excited to record, to be honest. Yeah, we got plenty of stuff. The NFL boys, as you spoke about, there's still plenty of content coming out, and it's only going to start ramping up for AFL again when the team picker comes out in probably a month's time. So
yeah, I think someone asked in the chat the other day. I think last year was December 18th, so we're not far away. We're less than 3 weeks away from team picker. Yeah. Coincidentally, I think December 19th is my last day of work before a little break over the summer. So we'll start getting into some research. As soon as that happens, we'll be back on the airwaves as you know, before you know it, in early Jan, doing some content. So can't wait for that. And I've got a big redemption year this year. I had a shit year last year, so I'm keen to sort of get back on track next year. So it all starts tomorrow night with the draft. So looking forward to having a look at that and then moving on from there.
100%. Ladies and gentlemen, thank you for tuning in to, I guess it's the first show of the new season for Inside AFL. I guess you could call it that. Even though it's still 2025. Welcome to 2026.
And I believe, just a bit of a sneak peek, there's some new branding coming, maybe even a new title for the show.
Yes.
Look out for that, everybody. We've been doing a little bit of work in the off season, and we'll be back bigger and better, and with some new and improved sort of brands and stuff in the new season.
100%. Thank you guys for tuning in tonight. We really appreciate it. Make sure to smash the like, smash subscribe, do all that good stuff. Be a triple banger, as the Horse likes to say. And show some support to us, and we'll show it back to you guys. Really appreciate it. Thank you. Goodbye.
See you all.